Hello and welcome to another update video about Algorand. Had a few requests about Algorand. It is not my favorite chart, very clearly not. And to be honest, for this to be anything else than clearly bearish, we need to do quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the bearish and the bullish possibilities here. My point is, just before we start this video, there are so many better opportunities chart-wise out there at the moment. This one here tries to still find lower lows. It could, of course, do something to the upside. It could do, but it's just not clear. And again, there are so many other more bullish opportunities out there. You know, we've talked about Quant, we've talked about Matic, talked about Ethereum, we've talked about Metis, we've talked about Aave, even EOS, Ethereum Classic. This one is just not doing anything at the moment. Of course it could. They all could. But here it's just sort of hashtag time for quality for me. There isn't much going on there. And yeah, to be honest, well, let's take a look what this could be. We are still caught in the range. I mean, at the very bare minimum, I would like it to get above the 41 cent level. That's the absolute bare minimum it needs to do. At the moment, disregard the yellow count because you can construct this differently. But let's say in the bearish interpretation, which I think for me, to be honest, is still the more likely one until we clearly see the trend changing here. So I would move all of these waves to the downside. And my view is that the wave 3 bottomed here and the wave 4 topped here, so that this was a corrective wave to the upside from the June low. Here to the upside was just a wave 4 high, and then we came down in what I believe, no, sorry, it's not that. This is the wave 4 high, yeah. And then we came down in what I believe could be a wave 1. And we're now just, all we're doing now is retracing in a wave 2, and we could move further down. Yeah, of course it could be something different. There are tons of interpretations. The point is here, the Elliott waves won't tell us, or won't tell you anything different. It's a question of interpretation here. And my point is just very clearly, so you have a trend line here as well, right? That until we do something more bullish, clearly bullish, and break at the very minimum above this 41 cent level, until then, for me, this count is in charge. Of course, there is another interpretation that's possible, and that interpretation would be highlighted now. So we would look at this as a wave 1, as a leading diagonal. A leading diagonal is always less reliable as an impulse, and this was a leading diagonal, not even a very strong one. This here would be a wave 2 to the downside. We have retraced nearly 100%. That doesn't give a lot of confidence. We would now be moving in a third wave up. There will be a fourth down and a fifth wave up. Problem here, again, this would have to be another 1-2 setup. Yeah, so that we count this as a wave 1 up, this as a wave 2 down, and the third wave would need to push, fourth down, fifth up. Problem here is, this is far too weak at the moment, yeah, and also here we've retraced nearly 100%. It's far too weak. Of course, this can change, but my point is there are much better opportunities out there at the moment that show a much clearer and much more, let's say, a chart picture where we can be much more confident, right? And yeah, what would we need to do if we say this is the bullish count? And I'll make that a different color. Let's make it blue. Let's say the bullish count is supposed to work out. What would need to be the targets? Target for wave 3 in blue would need to be at the very minimum 45.7 cents. But this is probably not going to work out. Why? Because it needs to be higher. Because we have within this third wave another 1-2 setup, and we need to consider that as well. So within this 1-2 setup, that's what we need to count first. So wave 1 to the upside, wave 2 down. Here the target would be already 49.8 cents for the wave 3. So we would have to push this wave 5 in blue higher. But for the imminent wave 3, it would be 49.8 cents. So it would need to do that actually. Otherwise, there isn't anything going on here. And I would at the moment not touch this, which doesn't mean I wouldn't touch it at all. It is just my view that there are better opportunities. This could break out. Breakout point for me would be though that 41 cent level. And if I look at this, I mean, there will probably be some resistance at this ascending trend line as well. Okay. So for me at the moment, yeah, just sideways movement. But we also need to consider that Algorand, I think in the last bull run last year, it was one of the last coins actually moving, which means if we consider it is, you know, possibly maybe always late, right? Last year we had Quant was one of the first ones last year as well. And Algorand was one of the last ones. So, I mean, it's just something to be ready, yeah? My view is that it is still an interesting project. And I'm not talking about this fundamentally, but the point is until we see a breakout here, we need to be, yeah, just be careful really, you know? So if we now look at this, we can see we recently broke back above the 50-day moving average. Not necessarily too much of a bullish sign because in this sideways range, the price doesn't really respect this 50-day moving average. What would be interesting though is to see where is the 200-day moving average sitting at the moment. And that will be interesting. So this is currently at around 38-39 cents. I think a break above the 200-day moving average is certainly something that would be noteworthy. So a move above 39 cents, even though moving averages are not too relevant from an Elliott wave point of view, but they can still be important support resistance levels and can already indicate a trend change. I mean, we don't need to use Elliott wave for everything, but you know, moving averages and so on and patterns can be a nice addition to Elliott wave. The point that I'll try to make here is that the 200-day moving average is highly relevant. That is at 39 cents. Last year, when we broke above the 200-day moving average, we had a strong move. That was first of all here in July 2020, and then also here in December 2020. That happened. And then if we take a look in 2021, which was here, yeah, here we had also the break above the 200-day moving average, and that is when it started to shoot to the upside. So I think this may not take much longer, but I just tell you that at the moment, until we see certain levels break, it's all speculation. So we always want to see a signal and then react to it. At the moment, the market, yeah, is in a range and it could be bottoming out here. Absolutely, it could. But there is just no evidence that it has bottomed. You have basically something that you would call a triple bottom here. 1, 2, 3. And if we get above the 200-day moving average, right, I'm open to the idea that then the blue count could be working out. But again, there are clear levels that we need to reach. And across the market, that's always important to understand. I think across the market, we are currently in an accumulation phase, long term, medium term, even possibly short term. Yeah. At the moment, the market seems to be flipping a little bit bullish. So also that is something that we need to keep an eye on generally, because when these cryptos start to move, then they will move, fast. We can see that currently, Quant pumped today, Chili's pumped today, Doge pumped today and yesterday. So, they can move quickly. Okay, that's my update about Algorand. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.